What's up? I'm Dave Audé. Most people know me as a remixer, producer, DJ. And last couple of years I've done a bunch of records for people like Madonna, Rihanna, Katy Perry, Coldplay, U2. Just had a #1 record with Sting. In fact, it was my 111th #1. Some of the great reasons I'm using Waves plugins, besides the obvious fact they sound good and they work good, is that a lot of the plugins that I'm going to talk about today are just really super easy to use. You don't have to be a super technical or go to engineering school necessarily or know a lot about just the technical aspects of music. You can just sort of use your ears with a couple of these plugins and get some great results. So talking about some cool Waves plugins that I use regularly. The first plugin here is Renaissance Vox plugin, or RVox as it looks on the screen. And it's just a really simple vocal compressor plugin. So if you just want something to use quick to cut vocals, so if you're tracking vocals and you just want to really quick, you don't want to sort of, maybe you don't want to get into lots of compressors, which one you want to use for the final mix, but you need something just to cut vocals right now. It's a really cool plugin just to pull up. It's got a couple knobs, really simple to use. The gate, you don't even need to worry about that unless there's lots of noise. So hopefully you're not recording outside or something like that. So the gate's cool if you have some noise and you want to gate the noise out. But in this case, I recorded the vocals for a song I did with ex-Pussycat doll Jessica Sutta. The song's called Willing to Beg. It's coming out on her album. And I cut all the vocals, so they sound pretty good already. But I just wanted to have a nice plugin. I always put the RVox plugin on the vocal chain. Maybe after a high-pass EQ, I'll throw the RVox plugin in there just to sort of smash things before I get to sort of the texture and the sound that I'm trying to do. And I'll get to that in a second. So here's the RVox plugin, and you can kind of hear what it's doing.
I want to give you every reason to get down on your knees. Oh, lose yourself until you can find yourself with me. I want to give you every reason to get down on your knees. Oh, lose yourself until you can find yourself with me. I want to give you every reason to get down.
So obviously there's a little bit of gain difference, but it's kind of bringing out a little bit of her lower tones in her voice, which is what a compressor is supposed to do. Okay, so the next plugin I want to talk about is a fairly new plugin that I was just begging Waves to put out for years, and thank God they did because it makes my life a lot easier. It's the one knob pumper. Sidechain compression has really become a huge effect, and a lot of people don't know how to use sidechain. So for the last decade, I've been using compressors with key inputs to make sidechain compression. And thank God Waves came out with this plugin called One Knob Pumper. So let me show you what it does. Let's insert it here. There it is. I have this new song with Jessica Sutta called Willing to Beg, and I'm just deciding on whether or not to put another pad in, sort of like smooth things out a little bit. But the pad right now is fighting with everything else. The rest of the track's kind of already pumping. I want the pad to pump too. So let's just hear the pad by itself without any kind of sidechain or pumper. So it already comes up with quarter note sidechain or pumper, and that's exactly what I'm using pretty much 99.9% of the time. So you can know the different rates are 3/16, 1/6, 1/8, depending on which timing you want it to do. And let's listen to those different timings actually. Okay, I just want to use quarter note. Thank God for one knob pumper. Now it's going to just go with the rest of the track. Talking about some plugins I use every day, pretty much on every session. One of my go-to plugins that it's an automatic thing on my master chain is Waves Deesser. They have a couple deessers, but this is their standard, just deesser. And I'm using it a little differently. Most time you're de-essing vocals, which is great to do that. But in this case, I'm actually having it on my master chain, not on my master fader, but on my master auxiliary chain, bus chain, and I'm just basically reducing 5 dB at 16K, and that's my magic setting. In fact, let's go here and just go save settings as Dave's Deesser bus, something like that, because I use it pretty much on every song the exact same way. And let me give you a little blast, show you what it does. You might not hear anything, it's not something drastic, but I'm trying to get more level, more level, more level, because I'm competing with everybody else out there. By the way, the records I deliver to the labels go immediately to press. No one's mastering my stuff, or at least that I know about. So I want to make sure whatever I give them is as loud and great sounding as possible. This plugin's just giving me a little bit more level before I go into an MV2 or an L3, which you can see right here after the de-esser. There's my MV2. There's my L3. By the way, those two plugins are in the Dave Audé EMP Toolbox. So a couple years ago, I was very fortunate to work with Waves in putting together the first ever EMP Toolbox. There it is right there, the Dave Audé EMP Toolbox. Very proud moment in my career because I've been using Waves pretty much my entire career. In fact, I'm still using all these plugins today, so it's pretty cool I actually chose the right ones.